Adam Witty has managed to turn his business into a small empire, as he has been described as one of the coolest young entrepreneurs. And he says that in order to have a thriving work culture, you've got to have the right players. And what I say to that is Curtis, Chris, David, Rusty, you're all fired at this point. So, Adam joins us. Adam, thanks for swinging by. I appreciate it.
It is my pleasure to be with you. I'm looking forward to having some fun talking about these great topics.
So let me ask you about you first. Why don't you give us a 50-cent tour about who you are, because our TV audience and our radio audience may not have heard from you or about you. So give us a little bit of Adam Witty 101.
Well, I'm an entrepreneur. When I was in college, I learned that I was highly unemployable. And so there was only one career option, and that was to be my own boss. Having lunch one day with a mentor of mine right before I graduated from college, the man's name is Pat Williams. He's the co-founder of the Orlando Magic basketball team. And Pat, who is a prolific author, convinces me that the 2 years of experience I had as a summer intern for a publishing company was enough to go out and start my very own publishing company. And in January of 2005, after graduating from college, really not knowing any better, I started a publishing company, Advantage Media Group, that I run today. So I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a marketer, I'm a salesman, and really my passion has been growing this organization, hiring and retaining great people, getting them bought into an inspiring vision, and then jointly with their help, trying to grow an organization to become the biggest and best at helping business leaders share their stories, passion, and knowledge with the world through the form of a published book.
So, and you folks, so you guys are international publishers of business and self-improvement books and professional development books. You know, I have to say, in the 20 years I've been doing TV and radio and a number of investment banks I've run, I've been approached a number of times, and just recently, by a publisher about doing a book, and I know I've got plenty to say. I'm on national television every day, and I'm on radio for a total of 5 hours every day as well. It seems like a daunting task, though, and the more I look through your website, which is AdvantageFamily.com, I realize it doesn't have to be a daunting task, does it?
Well, it's a daunting task because the thought of sitting down and actually writing a 150, 200-page book, for most people, will make your head spin. It certainly does mine. I mean, I have a hard enough time writing an email, let alone a full book. And that's the 20-foot high brick wall that most people can't overcome. It's getting it written. I'll share this with you. The American Association of Publishers, they did a survey. They found that the average business author spends over 200 hours writing their book.
Wow.
And you know, Sully, look at your schedule. You know, all of the listeners look at your schedules, and how many of us really have 200 hours just lying around that we can devote to writing a book?
No, I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, television for a couple hours a day. We got radio for a big portion of that, and at some point you've got to unplug on this thing. And I see the shelves. I mean, listen, I get pitched 80 times a day. So does David Comatoy, our producer, for the national television show of authors. I just don't know where they're getting all the time to do this, because most of them are successful entrepreneurs. So I would suggest that people visit AdvantageFamily.com, look at your resources there. Let's get to the topic at hand, and that's about a workforce environment and a work culture here. I think we can all agree on the fact that I took my management skill here at the television studio from Attila the Hun. I think that Chris Janikis and Curtis Matovich can tell you that's the kind of work culture we have. I'd like to lead with fear or threat of embarrassment. I think is probably the best way to do that. But what I want to do is when we get back from the break, I want you to take us through how important a work environment is, because I think part of this process comes down to, you go to a restaurant half the time, not for the food, but for the ambiance. Maybe there's something to that with a work environment. His name is Adam Witty. He was named by Inc. magazine as one of the coolest young entrepreneurs in 2013. And of course, his company, Advantage Media, AdvantageFamily.com is the name of his website. But when we come back, what I really want to do is I want to pick his brain about work environment, because fun and work can actually coexist, according to Adam. It's the Big Biz Show, bigbizshow.com. I'm solo today. Rusty Nails is out. I think we're all thankful for that my trusty sidekick is doing a speaking engagement. You can follow us on Twitter at Big Biz Radio. 20,000 of you do. More Big Biz coming up. Adam Witty is a cool young entrepreneur. At least that's what Inc. magazine says. And he is the founder and CEO of Advantage Media Group. That's AdvantageFamily.com. They are an international publisher of business books. They are, as they call, a one-of-a-kind business publisher. And I'm glad to have him on the air with us today on the Big Biz Show. Adam, let's talk about the I guess the topic at hand, and that's about workplace environment, work culture. You know, this is not new. However, back in our parents' days, there was no such thing as really worrying about having fun and actually having team building at work. What's the secret sauce here?
Yeah, you know, it's been important for a long time, and people neglect it and they forget about it. And quite frankly, most companies still do a pretty bad job at it. And the truth is that you're going to spend more time over your lifetime at work or in a work environment than you are at home or even sleeping. And so if those 8 to 12 hours a day aren't fun, aren't in a pretty nice, inspiring, cool environment, then you're going to lose your very best people, because the best people are always being recruited and asked to leave your company to go to a competitor or to go to another. And so I just think that when you create a culture that's fun, that's exciting, that's upscale, if you will, you're going to keep and you're going to retain A players. And business growth and business success is always about having A players and keeping them in the right seats on your bus.
So how do you keep your best players? Because obviously, you know, in business, you know, when you're financing businesses, there's always a concept called the barrier to entry. What's going to keep the bigger guy from swooping in and stealing your idea? Sort of the same type of deal. How do you create a barrier to entry with your existing people?
Yeah, you know, the first thing, and this is free, you've got to have an inspiring mission and vision. And I don't mean a plaque on the wall in the lobby that the CEO couldn't even recount if put on the spot. I'm talking about a noble cause and a noble purpose that really makes people feel good about what they do. I'll give you an example, and I'm going to use my company as that example. You could say, hey, Adam, you're a book publisher. And I say, no. We help our clients share their stories, passion, and knowledge with the world to help people learn and grow. Now, where do you want to work? Do you want to work at a book publisher?
Sure.
Or do you want to work for a company that inspires people to share their stories, passion, and knowledge with the world? So what do? What's the noble mission? What's the noble purpose? And the CEO's job, the business owner's job, is to constantly beat that drum of what that inspiring mission, vision, and purpose is, and to get people excited about it.
Of course, Adam Witty, CEO of Advantage Media Group, our guest today on the 5 essential building blocks for a thriving work culture. Are there talk to us about what I'm supposed to be looking for when we're hiring? I mean, obviously, we want to take a 50,000-foot view when we're trying to build a workplace environment that's going to work, and you want a team of folks who are, as you said, motivated and talented and that want to be there. What do you look for as a hiring manager?
So this is the greatest misnomer in business today. By the way, the success rate of business is 50%. So just a little bit better than marriage. And that means that for every 2 people that you hire as a manager, one of them will fail, and you will show them the door, or they will voluntarily leave within the first 6 months. It's pitiful. And the reason why it's pitiful is because most managers have no formal strategy and approach to hiring. Let me tell you what it looks like. Somebody leaves your organization, you've got a seat that needs to be filled, and gosh darn it, you've got to fill that seat fast, because until you do, you're responsible for that person's workload. And so what do? You post something on Monster, you go through a bunch of resumes, you call the top 3 or 4 people and say, why don't you come in for an interview? You interview them for no more than 60 minutes, and then you make a hiring decision. That's no different than asking a woman to be your wife after you take her out on one date. The chance of long-term success is pretty low. Let me refocus you. Let's think about college football for a minute because it's college football season.
Sure.
Let's talk about Nick Saban at the University of Alabama. Nick Saban is recruiting his 2016 class right now, and it's only 2014. And even though the season is going on, I guarantee you that Nick Saban is thinking about recruiting today. And the purpose and the point is that professional coaches of sports teams, they recruit 365. They're always thinking about the talent that they're going to add to their team, whereas most business owners and most managers, it's a knee-jerk reaction of, oh, goodness, I've got to fill a seat because somebody left. So the first thing that you can do to improve your chance of success in hiring the right people is make it a proactive process, not a reactive process. And we have a policy at Advantage, and that is that we are always looking for A players, and every single position in our company is open, meaning we're always looking for people, because if somebody leaves, whether by our choice or by their own choice, we want to have a pipeline of talent that we can immediately turn to versus helter-skelter trying to fit somebody in to get into that seat really quick.
His name is Adam Witty. Of course, he is the CEO and founder of Advantage Media Group and, of course, AdvantageFamily.com. Adam, I want to have you back. I appreciate the time, pal. Best of luck to you, and good job on the book publishing business at such a young, ripe age of 30 years old. Of course, one of the youngest and coolest young entrepreneurs of the year, or at least that's according to Inc. magazine. And once again, Adam Witty.